If you are in your first trimester or you're trying to be pregnant, you definitely want to watch this and take some notes. Hey mama, assalamu alaikum. Today we are going to be talking about the best food to eat in the first trimester. Before we get into the video, I just want to start off by saying there is nothing solo that happens ever since you became pregnant. Massive and rapid development of your baby is happening, and cells are dividing very rapidly to support your baby's growth and development. The first trimester is a very crucial time to maintain a healthy diet. And I start with the most critical in the first trimester. Food number 1, folate or folic acid rich foods. You may already be familiar with foods high in this nutrient. Green leafy vegetables are famous whether you're pregnant or not. If you are in your childbearing age, this nutrient is very crucial. It is especially essential in the first trimester because it is involved in cell division. Folate, the natural form that is present in food, or folic acid, the synthetic one that is present in fortified foods and your prenatal vitamins sometimes, are absolutely crucial for cell division, which is why adequate intake is so important early on in your pregnancy or even way before you conceive. You need about 400 microgram if trying to conceive and about 600 microgram of dietary folate per day during pregnancy. Adequate folate intake is necessary to prevent neural tube defects such as spinal bifida and anencephaly, which is the most serious complications of folate or folic acid deficiency. The neural tube starts to form very early on in the pregnancy. The closure of the neural tube is complete at about 4 weeks of pregnancy. And for most women, they have no idea whether they are pregnant or not. That is why taking your prenatals way before pregnancy is very important. And this I tell to a lot of women who don't even know that they need to take prenatals or they need to prepare their body for pregnancy. There are some evidence that show that supplementing with folic acid or folate can even reduce the risk of autism in children. And I'm going to link the article in the description box as well. You can easily get your daily dose of folic acid or folate by eating, especially folate, by eating 2.5 cups of steamed spinach or cooked kidney beans. Any dark green leafy vegetable contains substantial amount of folate in them. Dark leafy greens such as kale, collard greens, dandelion leaves, one of my favorites, contomere for my Ghanaian families, spinach, and believe it or not, eggs contain a whooping amount of folate in them, especially when you eat with the yolk. Nuts, seeds, dairy products, and some seafoods are good options as well. Even though our body does a little bit of work to absorb folic acid more efficiently than folate, and with numerous extensive research to back folic acid effectiveness in preventing neural tube defect, it's actually the synthetic form of folate. Folate is what we get directly from whole foods, and folic acid is what we get from some prenatal vitamins and also from fortified foods like bread and cereals. Next up is iron foods. So when you're pregnant, right, there's something called closed loop. We get extra blood in our system when we are pregnant. So during pregnancy, your blood volume increases tremendously and your body's demand for iron increases as well. So you want to make sure that you are eating enough iron-rich foods before your pregnancy so your body can compensate for what it needs for the baby and for you and for the development of your placenta and everything else in the first trimester. Sometimes, like we said, it is hard to eat in the first trimester. So it is better to prepare your body before you even get pregnant. So you have the nutrient stores before, and then when it gets to the first trimester, if you're going through nausea, if you're going through fatigue and you cannot really eat, you're going through food aversion, you still have the nutrient stores that is gonna fill in the gaps for baby's rapid growth and for mama to also feel well. You need about 27 milligrams of iron per day per conventional recommendation. Iron is very crucial during pregnancy. Iron is what helps your body make hemoglobin, which is what is needed for your blood to carry oxygen throughout your body, and for your muscles to be supplied enough oxygen to maintain a healthy immune system. This is not just for you, but for the baby. The first trimester might not require any iron supplementation, but make sure you ask your doctor if you need to supplement with iron, then go for it. But a lot of the foods that you eat during the first trimester or before you even got pregnant, if you maximize whatever you're eating, you should be getting enough of the iron that you might need for the first trimester. Then when you move on to the second trimester, you would need even more. Sometimes supplementation, especially in the prenatal vitamins, can cause a little bit of constipation, so you might want to check on that as well. And then also with the iron in the prenatal vitamins, it might also cause some nausea symptoms. So if you're taking your prenatals and you feel like your nausea is really worse when you take your prenatals, make sure you ask your doctor or you ask your midwife or your provider if they can switch the prenatal vitamins, or they can recommend a separate prenatal vitamins from the iron. So you're going to take the prenatal vitamins without the iron and then take the iron separate. My favorite prenatal vitamin is Needed. Needed is the most complete prenatal multivitamin on the market. About 95% of women are deficient in at least one key nutrient, such as choline and vitamin D. Needed supports nutrient levels, baby's healthy growth and development, mother's health, hormone balance, energy, fertility, and postpartum recovery, and nutrient depletion, and breast milk nutrient content, and a whole lot. So as you can see, it is loaded and it is evidence-based product. So I love it and I think it is a good brand. If you are interested, you can check in the description box below, or you can use my link code Halima is needed for 20% off your first order. Next food, brain foods. Brain foods are foods that enhance the brain development of your baby in utero. When they come out, it supports their brain development as well as you, the mama. Brain foods are also called omega-3s, or the healthy fat. There are two major types of omega-3s, EPA and DHA. I'm sure you've heard about DHA by now, especially because of its importance during pregnancy. It's highly beneficial for your baby's brain, your baby's eyes, their vision. It's especially important during the third trimester when rapid brain growth takes place. It is highly recommended that a mother who is trying to get pregnant or who is already pregnant maximizes her intake of omega-3 fatty acids for the baby in utero and during their childhood. 3 ounces of salmon can contain between 700 and 1800 milligrams of omega-3s. That's both EPA and DHA. 500 to 1000 of which is from DHA. Salmon is very super high in DHA, especially if you get it wild caught. The source is important. The general recommendation is to consume fatty fish at least 2 to 3 times a week. Fish are famous in the amount of DHA and EPA in them. However, if you are not a fish eater, there are other sources of omega-3s that you can get from other foods. Some eggs may be enriched with DHA. Grass-fed beef also contains some amount of DHA. Next food nutrient that you need during the first trimester, the critical time of pregnancy, is magnesium. Let me tell you about the nutrient that is often ignored in all stages of pregnancy, especially the first trimester. Magnesium deficiency is quite common during pregnancy. Most pregnancy complications are due to magnesium deficiency directly or indirectly. Some women have noticed less nauseous symptoms when they start supplementing with magnesium orally or topically. I'm not sure if you've seen a video about morning sickness and stuff like that, the vlogs that a lot of people do, and they say they use like a magnesium spray and they spray on their skin or something like that, and they don't feel a lot more nauseated, yes, so that is magnesium. It is an essential nutrient that we need in our body to help with a lot of chemical and mechanical reactions in our body. The easiest way you can add in more magnesium is by adding magnesium rich foods. However, you can as well use magnesium supplements or the topical magnesium that can also help. Second and third trimester leg and muscle cramps can also be lessened when you start supplementing with magnesium. So magnesium does a whole host of stuff in our body that is very critical. And I've seen a lot of nutrients that are suggested for first-time mothers or first trimester, but magnesium is often not mentioned. And this is very critical nutrient that you can start supplementing, or you can really start prioritizing before you even get pregnant, because it's very important. Your nervous system depends on it. Your muscle status depends on it. A lot of the mechanical chemical reactions that happen in our body depend on magnesium. So it is important. You can ask your provider for how you can start supplementing, or when you want to supplement, so your provider would know which of the magnesium is right for you. So the last food item that I want to discuss with you is vitamin D. Whilst your food provides a lot of the nutrients that you need for you and your baby, vitamin D, unfortunately, is not one of the nutrients. Vitamin D is the only vitamins that is produced from the sun. And it turns out that food alone cannot provide you with enough vitamin D to support your pregnancy and support your baby's development as well. Even though some prenatal vitamins contain vitamin D, usually 400 to 600 IU, it is nowhere near what is needed by your body to actually support your pregnancy without exposure to sunlight. And if you are not exposing yourself to sunlight before you get pregnant or during this first trimester, it is highly recommended that you do that, but also make sure to ask your provider to recommend a vitamin D supplement for you. Supplementation can go a long way to support you and your baby, and then also for the future needs is when you need it during the fourth trimester, when you are breastfeeding, if you choose to breastfeed, and then also filling in the gaps for you to feel well and nourishing the breast milk actually that you are feeding the baby. The recommendation is to take about 4,000 IU of vitamin D when you decide to supplement, and this is per day for maintenance, and possibly if you are deficient, you can go higher on the number. You can also request a blood work by your provider to check your vitamin D levels. If your vitamin D levels show a little bit of the lower level, make sure that you are supplementing, but remember to ask your provider. You can go all the way to 7,000 IU, because some research also suggests that 7,000 IU might even be more supportive, especially if you find yourself deficient. So this is something to bring to your provider if you are interested in supplementing. But again, food can support, okay? So eating foods that contain a little bit of that nutrient, that is vitamin D, would go a long way to also support your pregnancy, especially because vitamin D is very important in preventing miscarriage. Miscarriage happens in the early stage of pregnancy, around the 5th week, 6 weeks, the 7th week. So that is the time, again, a lot of women don't know that they are pregnant. And to prevent miscarriage, you must make sure that you are adequately supplementing with prenatal vitamins. You are also keeping your diet, your food in check. You have a whole rounded diet, as well as you are maintaining a healthy lifestyle. That is all I have for you today. Inshallah, I hope you enjoyed this video and you have picked up one or two. If you have not watched any of my videos, please do well to watch them. I'll link all of the videos that I have mentioned in the description box below. So some of the references that I use in making this video, I'll link them all in the description box just in case you're curious to read even more. Make sure to watch this video on how to have a healthy pregnancy. Until I see you next time, be in the best of health and iman. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.